I know you? Only too well. The year was 1979, and Lisa and I first met when she was 7, and I was...
And Pete was 22.
That's right.
And we did a show together. So, community theater.
Pfizer Players.
Pfizer Players.
The Sound of Music.
The hills are alive. No, I can't sing anymore.
No, she can.
I really can't.
No, she can. Go ahead.
Anyway, as you recalled, several years later, you thought I was Liesel. and
Yeah.
I was Gretel.
Got confused.
Yeah.
You know.
So anyway,
Yeah.
a few years later, we did another show together.
That was Annie. Guess who the lead was?
So I was gonna leave that one out.
Yeah.
and-
Picture her with a red wig. Annie. Oh, it was good.
Fast forward a few more years.
Yeah.
I did high school drama, and our drama troupe used to go to see shows that were put on in community, and Pete was in a few of the shows that we went to see, and I was like, wow, he's really good.
What a star.
I have no idea what I was thinking.
Right.
So.
And then I would judge you in your high school productions as a
Yeah.
Yeah.
What shows did you? You probably can't even remember.
They all fly by. Anything Goes, I think, was one of them.
I was Bonnie.
And I did see West Side Story. I don't know
yeah.
if you were in it.
No, I wasn't in it.
No, what part were you?
I was Maria.
Oh, Maria, that small part. Yeah.
Clearly, I wasn't very memorable.
Yes, you were very good. And then in 2003, my father was ready to sell our house in New London. My mom had passed away in 2001, and he was living in Florida. And I said, Dad, I'd love to own that house. And he said, no problem, son. So he sold me the house, and I was living there. And one thing I hadn't thought about is I'm not really big on the shrubs and cutting stuff and planting and all that. So I said, I gotta find somebody to do my landscaping. And my good friend Kathy Wiltz, who worked at Pfizer Travel at the time, said, oh, there's a message board and there's this girl, Lisa DeVito, who is doing landscaping. I said, Lisa DeVito? I know her. So, sure enough, I called her. She came over, she checked it out, and she ended up doing the landscaping for my house. And then I was gonna direct a play, Annie, Get Your Gun. And I said, you know what, Lisa, I remember you'd be pretty good in that part. She said, oh, maybe I can. She came, she tried out, she got the part, and ultimately, she got me.
Lucky me.
Lucky her. And that was the beginning of the end. I mean, of our long 14-year relationship.
14?
16-year relationship. She moved in. We got married in 2000, no, what year? Don't tell me. 2006. That's right. And she came to start working at the store at that time. And we've had that kind of a partnership ever since. It's give and take, where I mostly give. She does most of the taking.
That's when my career at Lease to Land Hobby really began. And I remember going to the store with a 2-week-old and a stroller and just pushing that stroller up and down the aisles in between helping customers, trying to get her to take a nap. When I was ready to pull my hair out, our dear friend Helen would come to work for a little while and she'd push the stroller up and down the sidewalk so I could help the customers. And so that's kind of how it all began.
Thought it worked out pretty well. I didn't have to pay you. Got help.
So I think it was around 2009 when Rich left the business.
Yeah.
And so Pete wanted me to come on board as his partner. So I gave up my own business
Very
to
successful.
be his partner.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure how that worked at first.
I don't think it did, but we We were married, so I made sure it somewhat worked. But, you know, it was a lot of ruffling of feathers.
Yes, he was very good at ruffling my feathers.
That I am.
Not very good at letting go.
No, it was hard to give up control after being in control for 25 years. It was hard to, you know, give up some of the responsibility and stuff. It's hard for somebody that was in control for 25 years to suddenly give up some of that control, especially to your wife. And because at home she's telling me what to do, and maybe at the store I need to be in charge. But it was hard. I was very controlling, and it created a lot of conflict between us.
You know, he used to run the store with his dad and his mom. And even after his dad sold him the business, his mom still stayed on. So there was always that feminine touch around. But then when his mom passed for many, many years, there was no woman in the business. And then I came along, and oh boy, did I shake things up. Here I was, this woman who comes in with youth and energy and femininity, and I wanted to change the culture of Lee's Toy and Hobby. And my husband was so resistant. Because I had had my own business, I kind of was a little strong-minded about, hey, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna change everything up, and I know better than you, and this is the way it's gonna be. I mean, in my mind, we were gonna be a, you know, Fifth Avenue boutique in downtown Groton. So for many years, there was a little bit of back and forth between the two of us, maybe a little more than a little. And so Pete was very, set in his ways. So when I came on board, I came from corporate retail. I had worked for the Limited Company and a few other major corporations through high school and college. And that's how I paid for college. And it was a little bit of a culture shock coming into a mom and pop retail shop.
Yeah.
I remember...
Stuck in the 60s. Probably why.
And it wasn't so much, I think, the time warp, because I kind of thought that was cool. So I remember Pete and Rich would take the box of shipment, they'd slice it open with a box cutter, and they'd be like, put this on the shelf. Like, in the box. Who does that?
Pete and Rich?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in my world, merchandising was an art.
So we don't put it in the box anymore.
We don't put it in the box anymore.
We learn.
Once in a while, I would be working in the store and I'd have this epiphany that, you know, the outdoor stuff needs to move from the middle aisle to the far aisle. And I'd drive them absolutely crazy because for so many years, they didn't move anything.
Well, that made it easy because when you went out to find whatever, a game or whatever, it was where you always knew it would be.
No, but it is like the grocery store. I mean,
yeah.
I get it. You get super frustrated when they move things around in the grocery store. However, coming from corporate retail, I also recognize how important it was to move things around so that your regular customers who take the same path all the time will see your merchandise because you're moving your merchandise around the store even though they're taking the same path every day.
Interesting.
So you pretty much didn't listen to me before when I said...
You know, I let you do it. That's all.
But Rich would always be,
yeah.
What are you going to gain from it?
What do you gain?
What do you gain?
Yeah.
So when I came on board, as we said, I had a very different vision for the store than Pete did. And man, I really thought I was going to get my way. Which I didn't on many, many things. But there were a few things where I was influential.
Absolutely.
Our science department. I used to be a science teacher for a very brief moment in history. Not a good one, mind you, which is why I'm in retail. So after a few years of working together, I finally was able to cajole him into really increasing our selection in the science department because I'm a huge proponent of science. And I felt like that was an area that we really could tap into. So we probably increased our science section sixfold in the time that I have been working at Lee's Toy and Hobby. Another area that we really expanded was the arts and crafts section. It truly was an afterthought before I started working at the store. And now we have an entire aisle dedicated to arts and crafts. We have the basic supplies of crayons and coloring pads, paints and brushes, but then we have great selection for gift giving, like Klutz and Melissa and Doug. And so we've really expanded that, and I have to give myself a little credit. You know, the store definitely has a different look now than it did when I first started back in 2004. So you never used to do the holidays really at the store until I came around. We would put up a tree, and stockings, lights. And then the girls and I would bake my mom's recipes for cookies. And we'd have Small Business Saturday with cider and hot cocoa and cookies. Yeah. And now our customers kind of expect the cookies.
They do.
You know, I'd sit there and I'd put an order together and he'd be staring over my shoulder. And even the reps would make jokes like, "Hey, are you gonna let her put this order together herself?" You know, she's more than capable. It was really hard for him to let go though. Love my husband dearly, but he was really set in his ways by the time I came on board.
And so it did give us some trouble for different amounts of time.
And I think it's taken us many years to kind of learn how to maneuver around one another.
But we've overcome all that. I've mellowed with age, and I've actually acquiesced to her knowledge and her back retail experience that she had. And so now I think the repartee between the two of us is just sarcasm, where we just zing each other with little zingers, and we enjoy working together. Sometimes it's a little tense, but we try not to bring it home with us. And that's the history of Lisa and I at Lee's Toy and Hobby.